E Jean Carroll is a name that, for decades, was synonymous with sharp wit, fearless honesty, and a unique perspective on American culture. Carroll was a respected New York media figure, best known for her witty and insightful Ask E Jean advice column in Elle magazine. Her column ran for over 25 years, making her one of the longest-serving advice columnists in the country. Readers from all walks of life turned to her for guidance, drawn by her humor, candor, and her ability to tackle even the toughest questions with empathy and intelligence. Beyond her writing, Carroll was a successful author and TV personality. She appeared on talk shows, wrote several books, and became a familiar face in American media. Her credibility and humor made her a trusted voice for decades, and she was celebrated for breaking barriers in a male-dominated industry. In 2019, Carroll's memoir, What Do We Need Men For?, revealed a serious allegation. She accused Donald Trump of sexually assaulting her in the mid-1990s at Bergdorf Goodman. The book was both a personal reflection and a bold public statement, shining a light on her experiences and the broader issues faced by women. The story, previously shared only with close friends, thrust her into the national spotlight and changed her public identity forever. Suddenly, Carroll was at the center of a media firestorm, her every move scrutinized and debated. Carroll described a chance meeting with Trump, playful banter, and a sudden traumatic turn in a department store dressing room. Her account was detailed and vivid, painting a picture of a moment that would haunt her for years. The claim sent shockwaves through media and politics, challenging the public to confront a grave accusation against a sitting president. The story dominated headlines, sparking heated debates about accountability, power, and the treatment of women who come forward. By going public, Carroll risked her reputation and career, but she forced a national conversation about power, trauma, and truth. Her courage inspired others to speak out, and her story became a rallying point for advocates of justice and survivors everywhere. From that moment, she was no longer just an advice columnist. She became the woman who accused a president of a terrible crime. Her name became a symbol of both controversy and resilience. Her life and legacy would never be the same, as she continued to stand firm in her truth, shaping the national conversation about justice and the power of speaking out. When E. Jean Carroll's accusations surfaced, President Trump responded with sweeping denials and personal attacks. He insisted he'd never met Carroll, dismissing a photo of them together as meaningless. Trump publicly declared, "She's not my type," a remark widely criticized as crude and dismissive. He accused Carroll of fabricating the story for money and political gain, painting her as a liar seeking fame. These denials were repeated across media, amplified by his presidential platform. Trump's strategy was clear: discredit Carroll, cast doubt on her motives, and rally public opinion against her. His words reached millions, shaping a narrative that Carroll was untrustworthy. This aggressive campaign became central to the legal battle that followed, turning his public statements into evidence in a major defamation case. The stage was set for a high-stakes courtroom showdown. At the heart of Carroll's lawsuit was the concept of defamation, a legal principle that sits at the crossroads of free speech and personal reputation. Defamation law is designed to protect individuals from false statements that can cause real harm, while also balancing the right to express opinions and share information. Defamation means making a false statement, spoken or written, that damages someone's reputation in the eyes of others. It's not just about hurt feelings. It's about statements that can truly impact a person's standing in their community, career, or personal life. There are two main types of defamation: libel, which refers to written or published falsehoods, and slander, which covers spoken statements. Both can be equally damaging, but the law sometimes treats them differently because written words can spread further and last longer. In Carroll's case, Trump's social media posts and official statements were considered libel, since they were published in writing. His spoken denials, on the other hand, fell under slander. In today's digital world, a single post can reach millions instantly, amplifying the potential harm. For public figures like Carroll, the legal bar is especially high, much higher than for private citizens. The law recognizes that public figures are subject to more scrutiny and criticism, so it requires them to prove more to win a defamation case. Carroll had to show not only that Trump's statements were false and damaging, but also that they were made with actual malice, meaning Trump either knew his statements were false or acted with reckless disregard for whether they were true or not. This is a tough standard to meet. This high bar is meant to protect free speech, especially when it comes to public debate and criticism of public figures. But it doesn't shield deliberate lies or reckless disregard for the truth. The law draws a line between honest mistakes and intentional falsehoods. Carroll's legal team needed to show not just that she was harmed, but that Trump's denials were knowingly false and intended to discredit her. This meant carefully examining Trump's statements, looking for contradictions, and proving he acted with intent or reckless disregard. The case was about more than harsh words. It was about holding a powerful figure accountable for public falsehoods and protecting the integrity of public discourse. The law demanded proof that Trump's attacks weren't just careless mistakes, but intentional or reckless actions that crossed the line. Meeting this burden would be crucial for Carroll's case to succeed and would set an important precedent for future defamation cases involving public figures. The outcome would test the limits of free speech versus reputational harm and determine how far the law will go to protect both. Carroll sued Trump to hold him accountable for the damage his denials caused, but her decision to go to court was about much more than a personal dispute. She wanted to confront the consequences of his public statements, which she believed had upended her life in ways that went far beyond the headlines. She argued his statements weren't just denials, they were a calculated campaign to destroy her credibility, launched from one of the world's most powerful platforms. Carroll believed that Trump's words were intended to send a message, not just to her, but to anyone who might consider speaking out. Trump's attacks cost Carroll her long-standing Elle column and dried up other writing opportunities, devastating her career. The professional fallout was swift and severe, leaving her isolated in an industry where she had once thrived. The lawsuit detailed not only professional loss, but also the torrent of abuse and threats she faced from Trump's supporters. Online harassment and real-world intimidation became a daily reality, making her feel unsafe in her own community. Carroll's safety and peace of mind were shattered. She lived with constant anxiety, always looking over her shoulder, and the emotional toll was immense. Her goal wasn't just financial compensation. It was to clear her name and have a jury declare Trump's statements false. She wanted to restore her reputation and send a message that truth matters, even when facing powerful opposition. By taking him to court, she forced a public reckoning, demanding evidence and truth under oath. The trial became a stage where facts, not just opinions, would be weighed. The case became her fight to reclaim her reputation and challenge the narrative Trump had created. It was about standing up, not just for herself, but for others who felt powerless. Carroll's lawsuit was about justice, not just for herself, but for anyone silenced by power. She hoped her stand would inspire others to seek accountability, no matter the odds. She wanted the truth recognized in a court of law, believing that only a legal verdict could set the record straight and begin to heal the damage done. The courtroom became her battleground for vindication, a place where she could finally be heard, and where justice, she hoped, would prevail. In January 2024, a federal jury ordered Trump to pay Carroll $83.3 million. The award was split, $18.3 million in compensatory damages for reputation repair and emotional harm, and a staggering $65 million in punitive damages. The compensatory portion aimed to help Carroll rebuild her public image and address the pain and suffering caused by Trump's attacks. The punitive damages sent a clear message. Trump's conduct was egregious, and such behavior would not be tolerated. The verdict was built on a prior finding that Trump had sexually abused Carroll, so the jury's focus was on the damage from his denials. The judgment validated Carroll's claims and underscored the seriousness of defamation by a powerful figure. It was a legal and financial reckoning for Trump. The case set a precedent for the consequences of malicious public falsehoods. The outcome was a resounding affirmation of Carroll's truth. After the verdict, Trump's lawyers appealed, arguing presidential immunity and that the damages were excessive. They claimed Trump's statements were part of his official duties and the award was unreasonably high. In September 2025, a federal appeals court unanimously rejected both arguments. The court ruled Trump's team had missed their chance to claim immunity and that civil lawsuits weren't covered by recent Supreme Court rulings on presidential immunity. The judges found Trump's conduct remarkably reprehensible, noting his relentless attacks and disregard for Carroll's safety. The damages, they said, fit the malice and harm involved. The ruling upheld every part of the verdict, leaving Trump with few legal options. Carroll's victory was complete, and the court's message was clear. Power does not excuse defamation. The legal system had spoken, loudly and decisively. The numbers in this case only hint at the real cost to Carroll. After Trump's denials, she lost her beloved Elle column and saw her media career collapse. Once a sought-after writer, she became a pariah in her industry, her name synonymous with controversy. The professional fallout was devastating, but the personal toll was even greater. Carroll faced a flood of online abuse and credible threats, forcing her to take security precautions and live in fear. The emotional strain was immense. Anxiety, isolation, and a constant sense of danger became her new reality. The court's award for emotional harm recognized this invisible suffering. Carroll's experience showed how public lies can destroy not just reputations, but lives. Her case was a stark reminder of the human cost of defamation. The verdict offered some measure of justice, but the scars remain. For Carroll, the fight was about reclaiming her life as much as her name. With the appeals court upholding the $83.3 million verdict, Trump's legal options narrowed. He could request a full panel review, but that was denied. His last hope is the U.S. Supreme Court, which hears only a tiny fraction of cases. To get a hearing, Trump's lawyers must argue the case raises major national legal questions, like presidential immunity or free speech limits. If the Supreme Court declines, the verdict stands and Trump must pay, plus interest. The odds are against him. Most petitions are rejected. If the court refuses, Trump's legal road ends and the financial consequences become unavoidable. The case would close, with Carroll's victory fully affirmed. The Carroll v. Trump case is more than a legal battle. It's a statement about truth and accountability. The verdict shows that no one, not even a former president, is above the law. It's a warning that using power to spread lies has real consequences. Carroll's courage in coming forward offers hope to other victims of assault and defamation. The case demonstrates that the legal system can deliver justice, even against the powerful. The large punitive damages are a deterrent to future misconduct by public figures. The outcome reinforces the responsibility that comes with a public platform. Carroll's fight was about reclaiming her name and defending the truth. The case draws a line between free speech and malicious falsehoods. In an era of misinformation, this verdict stands as a landmark defense of reputation and justice.